Good evening. I'm Dr. Reggie Ratliff of the Ratliff Consulting Group, and welcome to Let's Talk Maywood on Diversity Today Media. We have a guest who's very active in Proviso Township, but particularly in Maywood. And before I introduce him, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Terrence Hollingsworth. Terry, are you there?
Hello, Dr. Ratliff.
All right. Here we are again. Um, just continuing this very important podcast that is, with our goal and our vision is to enlighten and empower and embrace our community in Maywood and bring in people who are from Maywood directly or indirectly who's doing positive things.
Yeah. One of the things that's absolute is that, we're trying to add some value into the Maywood discussion and what happens economically, how we need to be involved politically, how we need to be involved with our communities in order for our communities to sustain themselves. And
Absolutely.
so I am. I think Let's Talk Maywood is playing an important part in bringing people into the conversations that are, excuse me, that are actually doing the work, and everybody doesn't know it for certain, not certain what they're doing, and this is a great space for them and us.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we're doing this podcast, but because like you said, there are many people in our community who are doing things, but you really don't hear about the things that they're doing. And you may hear a little bit, but we want to be able to bring that to light, those who are doing great things who may not receive the recognition as others in their community, right?
Absolutely. A lot of people in a lot of communities are doing work that just is not being recognized. And, the great thing about where we are in the world today is we're not held to needing someone to speak on our behalf or give us a platform or anything like this. We could just go and do the work. We could tell our own stories. And ultimately, that's what matters.
Absolutely. And this also gives us the opportunity to, to do some public service announcements for those out there who are doing something, whether it's an event, of any type or a program that the community will benefit from. And, we have that platform to bring that to light. And that's what's really, our purpose here is to bring things to light and, to, like you said, build the economies of scale, if you will, to help rebuild what's going on in Maywood.
So I'm gonna get off here because I'm interested to hear from Jeremy. So
Absolutely.
let's see what he's got for us.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. I'll see you at the end of the show. And I'd like to introduce to the audience Jeremy Horn. Jeremy Horn is a 36-year resident of Forest Park. He did attend school in Forest Park, graduate of District 91. However, he graduated from Proviso East in 2003. So he is part of Pirates Nation. And Jeremy has been involved and engaged in the community for a number of years. And around 2015, when he visited Proviso East, his alma mater, as well as mine, he decided that there is something that he wanted to contribute to continue to empower not just Proviso East, not just Proviso Township, but Maywood as a whole. And so he is on the scholarship committee for District 209 that has awarded thousands of dollars in scholarships to graduates of District 209 who are pursuing college or a trade school. Jeremy has been doing this now for a total of 3 years. He's also one of the ambassadors for the Village Free Press, which for a couple years ago, and promoting the local newspaper that was started by Mr. Michael Romaine. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeremy Horn. How you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, Dr. Reggie Ratliff, I am doing well. Thank you so much for the invite. I am truly humbled by this. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show, my brother. And, we always want to bring in people who have a positive flow, if you will, who are doing things in the community, who aren't just talkers, but doers.
Absolutely, definitely.
Clearly you want to doers. So
Well,
let's get started.
Okay.
Tell us about Jeremy Horn. For those who have never met you, who are unfamiliar with the great work that you're doing, because this brief introduction doesn't do justice. So tell us who Jeremy Horn is.
Okay, I'll definitely tell you that. Well, Jeremy Horn is a 37-year-old. I just turned 37 a couple of days ago. I've lived in the village of Forest Park for now 37 years. I was raised in Forest Park, educated in District 91. I graduated from Proviso East High School, class of 2003, and been doing very proactive in my community since 2015. Really just going to my alma mater, see what was really going on. And when I went there in 2015 and seeing all the budget cuts, that was like really hurting the students, and I felt very sad and heartbroken. But I said to myself that crying wasn't going to do anything. Being angry or pointing fingers, I had to really, it was just my true calling. Like, I really need to do something to give back to my beloved alma mater. And it has been a very interesting journey that I do not take for granted. Has its highs, it has its lows, but the benefit is absolutely rewarding. And in 2017, District 209 made a lot of history when they elected some board members that were parents that weren't part of the political machine and swept the candidates. And we're seeing a lot of major changes, especially with Proviso East. I mean, since it's a 100-plus-year-old school building that have been disinvested for decades, we got a new football stadium known as the Teresa L. Kelly Stadium that was named after the longest board member for 20 years, Mrs. Teresa Kelly. Shout out to her. And it looks way better than the old football stadium. They demolished the auto club. Now it's inside the Proviso Memorial Hall in the first floor where the building is at, and it looks way better. We got air conditioning and heat finally, but phase one. This is, like I said, this is just phase one. I'm looking forward to phase two. So I'm still trying to hold them accountable. But other than that, it's been good. And like I said, it's called the 209 Scholarship. And I've been doing that for 3 years, just looking at all the reviews from Proviso East graduates that are trying to go to college or a 2-year. And these students do look for an opportunity. But I think that the problem is, for far too long, me and my allies, we're trying to destigmatize the high school of Proviso East and Proviso West that have far too long, for decades, have been viewed with negativity of not sending your children to that school and all that stuff. And that's what me and myself say, that there are amazing things that's happening here at Proviso East.
Well said. You said a couple of things that really hit home for me. One is the fact that you supported candidates who became board members who aren't part of a political machine. And second, you mentioned a journey, because sometimes you have to go through a journey, which means there are downs and ups, or ups and downs, challenges, things of that nature. And you just talked about that so well. And then finally, Miss Teresa Kelly. Before Miss Kelly became a board member, she was part of the community. She was a baseball manager. She and Mr. Kelly were part of minor league baseball, little league baseball. I played minor league baseball for the Dodgers. Miss Kelly was the manager. I played little league baseball. Mr. Kelly was the manager. I think it was for Hildebrand. So before that was Miss Kelly, the board member. Yeah. So before that was Miss Kelly, the board member, there was Miss Kelly, Mrs. Kelly, the community activist who welcomed everyone in the community. So
exactly.
Yeah. So, we see what's happening now, the work that is moving forward. And, so I commend you for your effort into making this vision a reality.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it takes a community. And I think people used to say to me, because I've lived in Forest Park for now 37 years, and it's like a huge divide with Forest Park and Maywood, because people, I'm no disrespect, but there are some residents who always say to me, Jay, why do you care about Maywood? And I said, why not? It's my community. I'm a part of the Proviso Township community. And people in Maywood said, you live in Forest Park. Why do you care about Maywood? Why? Because everything is interconnected. It's about building bridges that far too long have operated on islands and have not worked together in a cooperative manner, because the health of one community impacts other communities.
Absolutely.
I want people to think that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you corrected that rhetoric. You know, you didn't live in Maywood, but so why do you care about Maywood? You're part of Forest Park, which is part of Proviso Township. So it doesn't matter if you're from Forest Park or Westchester or Broadview or
Or
Melrose
Melrose
Park.
Park.
You know, it doesn't matter. You're part of Proviso Township family.
There
So
you go.
you giving back. I mean, you bleed blue and white, bro.
Right.
So, you know, it's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You still giving
Mhm.
back. So
Absolutely.
my next question for you is, what have you seen that's different, inclusive of the accolades you just mentioned to, you know, different phases of improving the infrastructure of Proviso East and Proviso West, our sister school. But what have you seen, if there's any difference between when you graduated in 2003 compared to what you're seeing in Proviso East of today? Are there any differences or similarities for that matter?
Well, I mean, the similarities is that in my opinion, is like I love my school, but there are some students that really, I don't know how to say if it's stereotype, but they really have this closed mindset that there's a bigger world out there. And, you know, and there were like some students that I went to school, you know, I mean, I was just trying to get good grades and just do my own thing. But like, man, most of my former classmates was just playing that I'm too popular role and just hanging with the wrong crowd. And I still see some of my former classmates to this day, and some are unhappy. They're very angry, they're bitter, and they are damaged. And I'm thinking, like, well, what did you do to really better yourself? And they have children that goes to school. And I'm like, well, did you ever be involved? Like, as a parent ambassador, some don't want to hear me and they just do like this. But I think the difference is that when we had Dr. Hart, he made some major improvements of like no fights and all that stuff. But we still need to improve like the academic. And I think that's the challenging thing is like there's like not enough people to really invest into the students and really just push them and challenge them to say, hey, that's not true. You guys have the potential to be successful and to really do something with your life. And I think we have to really challenge the mindset of the youth to really know that the community is there with you and we
Yeah.
believe in you and we want you to be successful.
There's some disturbing things happening in Proviso. You know, this just came to me. Our youth are harming themselves. There's a big problem with suicide at Proviso, and you're engaged in what's happening at Proviso. It breaks my heart that these things are happening. Um,
Yeah.
we didn't hear about this when we were students at Proviso East. So now things are happening where you have these beautiful young souls taking their own lives, and you know their future is gone. It's no coming back. Um, how do you feel about that? And you're not a mental health expert and psychiatrist or anything, but you're an advocate. Whether it's through mentoring programs or one-on-one mentoring programs or just visiting, the youth at their homes or whatever. What can we do to kind of change what's happening in our community as it relates to our youth?
That's a very good question you mentioned that. And I'm glad you mentioned that because right here on this one, I'm rocking this one in tribute to the students that lost their lives to suicide. And I rock this all the time thinking about them.
Yes.
But I think what we needed to do with mental health, I mean, mental health is real. I mean, we must destigmatize, we must eliminate the stigma of mental health. Because I think that with some of the youth, that really don't really talk to an adult to really express what they're feeling. Because they always say, like, go to the church, just pray about it. You can pray all you want, but still, you're still having these psychological issues that's really going on. So mental health, we must eliminate the stigma. And I really believe that if you have like a child or a family member that is struggling with mental health, do what you have to do. Eliminate the stigma. Go out there, get them the help that they need, and try to save them. And I think some people are ashamed of not getting the help because they're afraid
Yeah.
to be judged or ridiculed. And that's
Yeah.
why we have all these mass shootings that's happened here in this country, you know. And
Mhm.
some people who are not getting the proper treatment, they are self-medicating themselves through drinking alcohol,
Mhm.
smoking, taking all these illegal drugs to numb the pain. but the pain is still there, but they're not getting the proper help to really address, the mental health expert, because mental health is real. And I
It
think
is.
we must really eliminate the stigma about that. That's the first thing.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent point. There's this saying that, black people don't commit suicide. We don't do that. We're too spiritual, and we're above that fray. It's just, and so when it happens, there's this shock and awe. Oh my God, somebody took their own life, just 19, 17 years young, and what is going on with the family? What did mom do? Why didn't they see the signs? But sometimes you don't see the signs.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes they come across as happy and gleeful and everything's okay. So everybody isn't taking drugs. Everybody is not doing alcohol. Everybody's not gang banging. That's leading to suicide.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really tough to really pinpoint the exact problem, because even behavioral experts, even though they've received years of training, they still sometimes don't get it right. So
Mm-mm.
looking at Providers of East, these things are starting to happen just recently. And you see what's happening in social media. You on social
Yeah.
media. You on social media. What advice would you offer those adults who are making comments on Facebook or whatever that the kids can get access to when they see these comments that may discourage them?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. For adults, I really believe the problem with adults today is that they're allowing social media and also their cell phones to be parents. That's the truth. And they don't really, and some parents, I'm not blasting them all, but some parents don't even talk to their children. They just have them sent to their room and using their phone and use social media. And then all of a sudden they kind of get confused and also look stupid, like, man, I didn't know my child was like this. Like, well, did you look at your child's social media or on their cell phones and you see why they're acting like this and all that stuff? And also that people don't want to people to judge you. I understand it, but at the same time, it's the parent's job. That's what the parent is all about. You're supposed to give your child guidance. You're supposed to parenting them because, and also if you look at their text, they're putting out LOL instead of laughing out loud, or
Right.
LMH instead of shaking my head.
Right.
But it's interesting. So some parents don't even communicate with their children anymore, and that's heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking, and I wish that at some point in our podcast we could have a behavioral expert or somebody who's an expert that could give us a deeper understanding of what's going on with today's youth, because they're under extreme pressure. I didn't growing up in 1986. I mean, graduating from Providers of East in 1986. We didn't have social media. We didn't have access to resources and stuff. And it was just starting to come out when you graduated in 2003.
Well, not only that, it came out like in 2004. That's when with the MySpace thing and the Facebook.
Right.
But then it started globalizing in 2005, 2006, and 2007. So times have really changed. And another thing I want to say is that I believe that what some of these young kids need to learn is social skills. They have social media. That's the only way that they can get their frustration across, because you talk to them, they be like on their phones, and I'm like, dude, can you put your phone down? I want to talk to you.
Right.
And cell phones have really taken over. Now you got people driving, texting and drive, which I don't like.
Right.
Even at the grocery store, they be on their phones and texting, excuse me, you might put it's just unbelievable. I really believe human interaction is going to be at an all-time low. Social skills is going to be at an all-time low, and it's going to be a very heartbreaking future if we don't really prioritize what we need to really do.
I believe that positive things are on the way in Proviso Township, and particularly in the village of Maywood, because now there's awareness that this thing is not just a specific ethnic issue. It is also a Black issue, but most importantly, it's a human issue. So, when we look at things like this, and we talked about resources, what do you believe can be done in a school? Because you're engaged in District 209. What can be done at the academia level to combat
Well, on
this?
the academic level, I believe like we have guidance counselors because I know there are guidance counselors can be very overwhelmed with a lot of students that students should really take advantage of going to the guidance counselor or talk to their teacher or even talk to their principal. Also, there is this NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. That's an old part that can come and collaborate with some of the students and really talk about what their needs are. You can go to the public library, like the Maywood Public Library or the Forest Park Public Library, and talk to social workers that are there that could really express to what the thing. Like we're all in this together. And my
Yeah.
advice is, don't wait until something bad happens to you that you want to get involved. You know.
Yeah, excellent point. I want to add one more thing to that. What about programs that provide a service to youth, whether it's at Proviso or, in the community, mentoring programs where you can have a young women's program or young men program, things of that nature. What do you think? Do you think those are beneficial as well?
I think those are very beneficial as well. Like sports, of course. I mean,
Mhm.
you got like minor league and all that stuff. You got the park district and all that stuff. I think students really need to have an outlook to really, really get their energy out of there to really be very involved in their community, but also to feel proud and to build self-confidence in themselves.
So as we close out our discussion, where can a student find more information about the District 209 scholarship?
Yes, we have a website. Let me go right here. It's called 209scholarship.com. And it's a website, and I'm gonna put it on the chat, and you can like go and check out all the students and graduates of their accomplishment of how they got the scholarship, how they really been so rewarding, how they like went to college and really
Nice,
try to better themselves. And we have awarded like more than $100,000 of scholarship, and it also started with
nice,
a girl Connie Brown. She is the founder of the Brown Cow Ice Cream Parlor in Forest Park, and her business was about to be
nice.
shut down due to the pandemic.
Oh
And her son started a GoFundMe, and
yeah,
me promoting on social media and building bridges. We raised $50,000 in 2 days.
yeah.
And then
Nice.
GoFundMe.com said, we are inspired by that. We want to match that. And they gave some of that money, and we invested in the scholarship. And it has been absolutely rewarding seeing the students really
Nice.
want to try and better themselves and to really be productive citizens and want to come back and give back to their community.
Very good. Thank you for that great and valuable information, Brother Jeremy. And as we get ready to close this show, I'd like to give you just a few moments to make a closing statement to the community.
Okay, well, my closing statement is thank you all for tuning in, and shout out to Dr. Reggie Ratliff and Terrence for hosting me, for putting me in this podcast. And I hope that with this message that you take to heart, that anybody can really make a difference in their community. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be like a sports celebrity and all that stuff. You could be an everyday citizen just rolling up your sleeves and really get involved in it. It can be very challenging, but I'm telling you, the benefit is absolutely rewarding. And also, don't forget about the word ally. An ally is not a noun, an ally is a verb. You must earn that title. And I thank all of my community members that really embraced me, that have really inspired me, and really making me a better person to be proactive in my community. Now, in the near future, I'm hoping that I will pass down my knowledge and my wisdom to the next generation so they can be productive leaders for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Jeremy. That remind me. One more thing that Jeremy, I loved how you put it out there. Terry, you with us?
I am.
That was heavy, man. I loved how you talked about ally being action, a verb. Love is also an action verb.
It
It's actually
is.
an action because love is action, and so it's therefore it's a verb. But I was some scheduled questions that we may go in a different direction. Who would have thought we start talking about mental health
Well,
and
that's
suicides?
right. I
You
mean,
know,
it's the space we're in today. I don't know if it's because social media is what it is, and everybody is so used to seeing everything just instantly, and we get instant feedback, and you think one thing, and then it's not well received by everybody else. And I don't know what the answer is, except to say that we, as they say, we got to check on our people.
It's a must. We must check on our not just our seniors, but our young people as well. I mean, they're going through a time that really no other generation has gone through for many generations, probably since the Great Depression. Or the baby boomer generation when they was going through the Vietnam War era. I mean, they're really going through it, and we have to continue to keep them uplifted mentally and emotionally and spiritually, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is some space from where we grew up, where you just had to be a tough kid,
Right,
right?
right.
To
Suck it
where
up.
we are now,
Yeah,
that you still have to be a tough kid, but it is okay to say, I need a break. It is okay
absolutely,
for adults to take a little bit of time and ask a kid, is he okay?
absolutely.
Or even a person, right? It's
Yeah.
not just kids out here committing suicide. It's everyone from young kids to old adults.
Right. Right. Absolutely. We're going to continue to move the pendulum forward and strive high, move that trajectory up, and continue to get the message out there and be positive and have impactful people like Mr. Horn. Um, spreading this knowledge of love and giving back to their community. And thank you for those viewers who made comments during the podcast. Really appreciate you watching us. Continue to watch us.
Before we go, I want to make sure that everyone knows the website. It is 209scholarship.com.
That's 209scholarship.com.
Yep. And that's where people can go, and they can find out more about the scholarship. That's where they can apply for it. I mean, today's world, it's just, we have a worker shortage, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of programming out here that you don't have to go in debt to pay for college anymore.
absolutely. So if we've been doing it for 3 years, they're giving over 100,000. That's at least what, a total of $33,333 infinity. My math served me correctly every year. I mean, I teach economics and finance, but I think I'm right about there. But these are opportunities that our students should know about, the parents should know about, and certainly take advantage of, and to support 209
Absolutely.
scholarship, contribute to it so they could build the scholarship so others can take advantage of that and go to higher academia. So
Yep.
that's our show for today, everyone. Thank you so much again for tuning in. With Terrence Hollingsworth, I'm Dr. Reggie Ratliff for the Ratliff Consulting Group. Be blessed, be safe, and we'll see you next time. Good night.